Hey ladies, how are you doing? Listen, I've been having a great week of conversations with so many women, and today I'm wrapping it up with who I think is an awesome representation of somebody who can truly say, I'm that girl, okay? Her name, if you've never met her before, is Dr. Pat Morgan, and she's ministered to many on some of the largest platforms. She's a trailblazer in the field of education. Notably, she founded the very first Christian academy in Jamaica, and she's sought after as an educational psychologist. She's a great woman of faith. She has a heart for women, and she wants to see women operate in the dominion that they have been given. And we're going to talk to Dr. Pat Morgan today about our theme, I'm That Girl. And she's also extra special to me because she's my mommy-in-law. And Dr. Pat, welcome. I'm so happy to be having this conversation with you.
Thank you for the welcome. I am extremely happy to be here. I think we make a dynamic duo. Your youth and my age together, we're going to have some great times. So it's great to be here. It's also good to be invited to something called I'm That Girl. You know, at my age, I have to look back and see, wow, to what extent I am that girl.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's a great segue into a question that I'd love to ask you because, even the name of the name Good Girl, sometimes, someone would look on and say, well, I'm not necessarily a girl. I don't consider myself a girl. But as we're seeing with this statement, it's not just about an age, it's about a mentality, it's about a stage, it's about preserving that youth and operating in that youth. And my first question to you, Mom, is when you hear the term I'm that girl, just what came to your mind the first time you heard that?
But first, I had to ask, who says that? When is it said? Since I'm not in vogue, with all that's going on among you young people. But the moment I understood it, it was so full. The impact was great on my spirit. Yeah. And I do think I know what you mean. I'm that girl. Look at what I've accomplished. Look at how far I've in life. Look at this new thing I've just done. Look at how I just had an uplift of some part of my body. I'm that girl. I do understand the theme. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. What happens when we are not necessarily achieving things in the way that we would love to be achieving things? What happens when we have a moment where things are a little bit still? What is it that is truly anchoring us? Is it just our achievements that should make us feel that we're that girl?
That's a real challenge there. If I completely always have to depend on an achievement, an event that I've done that came out right, a photograph that looks awful, what happens? It's really a big challenge because you can't always be hopping from, I have to do this right. I must present myself. I don't have on any makeup and that kind of thing. It's very debilitating if that is what my understanding of my identity and my purpose, is all about. And so I find that when if we behave like that, we are going to be miserable a lot of the time, and we have to dig back. The truth is, what is our true identity?
Let's talk about that, Mom. What is our true identity? It's definitely not our accomplishments, even though those help to bolster our identity as it relates to peer-to-peer relationships and as women, try to accomplish things within the corporate world or as entrepreneurs, even as mothers and raising children. What really should be the core of our identity?
What should be the core of our identity? The very meaning of identity is mine. Who am I? And the deepest understanding of that is that I am a woman created to be in joint purpose with a man I have joint dominion with this man. Adam was first created, then Eve, the mother of all living, was created, shaped and formed in a particular way to have a particular identity. Although we as women have the same joint purpose, joint identity, joint dilemma, what are we going to do now in the world? We've sinned in the Garden of Eden. Yet the woman was given a particular identification mark.
Yeah.
God said to Eve, you're going to have to step up and be who you really were born to be. You were born to be. I already have given you dominion over this. Everything else I've created, you have joint dominion. So you are in charge. You are essentially made in my image and in my likeness. But now I'm going to give you an additional task, raison d'etre, a particular reason to get out of this Garden of Eden and get the rest of the world looking like Eden, and it was that you are going to have to position yourself, woman, as someone who can reproduce gifts, dominion, reproduce beauty, reproduce creativity on the earth. And then you're going to have an additional, the thing that will hold you is that you're going to have seed of destiny.
Yeah.
You're going to have people reproduce, people around you, women like you around you who understand what is their raison d'etre, the real reason, the real internal me, I think is what we're in search of, Renee. Yeah, and it has to be the godly identity, the godly and new elevated dimension, a really and truly the internal dimension of who I really am, not just how I look, but my internal being, what I'm supposed to do, my purpose, why am I here? We have to answer those questions, yes.
Yeah. I want to get a little bit personal, Mom.
Yes.
I want to talk about you and your journey to understanding who you truly are. You've accomplished so much. You've done a lot. But outside of that, how did Pat Morgan, or how does Pat Morgan affirm herself in her divine identity?
Yes. I have taken, and you're my daughter-in-law, I have taken very seriously the whole, I've identified myself, first of all, with the same Mother Eve I was talking about. I've learned in recent months that even just being and interacting with you about my true identity, it's a kind of nature that I have. Mm-hmm. I'm that girl with a nature that's divinely given, a nature that says I must succeed, I must clean up this Garden of Eden, I must reproduce sons and daughters, biological children, other children, sons and daughters. I must bless them with that same dominion dimension, that same godly identity. I must talk to my sons and daughters and say, look at you, you are born and shaped for purpose and in God's image and likeness. Additionally, I have looked not only at Mother Eve, but I've looked at Mary. Mary, the mother of Jesus, she was a girl, wow, in the height of her youth and teenage life, and she was about to be engaged to this man of God. And that was her life. And then God approached her with a proposition. I love propositions by men. When this man asked me to be his wife, there's a proposal. Can you have my children? Yeah, I had the identification with him to say, yes, I'll have your children, and when God approached this girl, that girl, Mary, said, are you willing to be the one to reproduce a seed of destiny, Jesus Christ? A sword is going to pierce your heart. Are you willing? And then she said, that's when she really found herself. She said, my soul, yes, I am willing. Let it be unto me according to your word. And then the beautiful Magnificat, it is always called. My soul magnifies the Lord. My spirit rejoices in God, my Savior. And then she began to identify herself with the woman who was before her, the woman who, as you spoke, you promised our father Abraham and to his seed forever. Let it be unto me according to thy word. And she said that God has brought down the rich and the haughty, and he has lifted up the poor. So I began to identify myself. Yeah, God is really interested in the poor of the earth. God is interested in elevating the people who are demeaned and oppressed. And same thing that Mary, the mother of Jesus, felt. She felt that she was blessed. And to be blessed means chosen by God, to now identify with God, in his purposes on the earth. And that for me over the years has been the reason why I do everything. Thank you.
Yeah. Who truly is a woman of dominion?
A woman of dominion is a woman who, first of all, you have to go back to your original intention. And the original intention of God was that man and woman should have dominion. And dominion means the gift, the capacity for leadership. It's in your heart. You understand? Why do you get so upset when you see evil happening? When you see, the people who are just noisy, whatever they are, talkers, spouting out their, premonitions and their death curses on the earth around you. A dominion is a thing that rises in your heart. And you said, no, I want to make a difference in this matter. There's a voice that's in me as a woman. There's a strength and a purpose inside of me that I don't just want to look beautiful and to win the 100 meters race at the National Stadium, last night in Jamaica, land we love. I don't want to be that, but there's something. Why am I all of this force that's in me to come at the head of the race? There is more. There's that same impulse that young champion girl and the young champion boy had at the champs. This is to say, I'm going to be influential in my area of giftedness. That's it. I'm going to have dominion, meaning I'm going to use all the power and the zeal given to me by God. I have him shaped in his image. My voice is his voice. I'm going to dedicate everything that I have to him and for his purposes on the earth. And what is largely, in a sentence, what does he want? He wants heaven and earth. He wants us to change things around us, where he looks and he is glorified, meaning God is made supreme king and lord of everything that we see around us. And so my identification, like I'm that woman, and I'd like to say I'm that girl who is actively pursuing that destiny for my life. Yes.
And it's in the doing that you would find that you don't have time to sit down and just be depressed about being between achievements. Because if we're focusing on getting to the next thing that would allow us to continue to walk in our purpose and to exercise that dominion, sure, we're human. We have moments when we're down, but the zeal that we have for carrying out the purpose for which we're here on earth is really what would keep us going and keep us remembering that we're that girl. I'm that girl because I'm continually chasing after the thing that I feel so passionate about. And with that doing and being, it is inevitable that I will get to that crescendo, that place of, yes, I've achieved this thing and on to the next, right?
Yes. Yeah. I'm so happy that you brought that up, because last night I think I had a moment like the sad one you just expressed, okay, here I am. And I want to tell everybody who's looking and listening to us that you are all going to have those moments, of accomplishment. And as you said so well, in between accomplishments, what happens then? I mean, how deep is that low? And how do you feel? I think I had a little bit of that last night. And I said, here am I with all of my dreams. And I want to encourage everyone that if at your age, whatever you are, you still have the right to have your dreams, to fully accomplish the purpose for which you have been created, to become that woman of God in your generation, releasing all of your potential, doing what God has called you so uniquely to accomplish, and you do it so well. So when you have those moments, okay, understand where you are, but then tell yourself, talk to yourself, let the source of your dominion rise up inside of you and say, but I am able to do it. I will. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write down the 5 things I must do tomorrow. So I've already made some phone calls today. And I said, in 3 weeks, I've got to talk to this woman more about education. And I talked to another young man and I said to him, arrange for me and Anne to speak in no less than, if we wait for 3 months, we're going to lose our momentum. I said, I must meet her in Charlotte, North Carolina, in 3 weeks to talk about education, So I'm not going to I cannot let myself say, but you've only reached this far. and get down in any valley of depression, because the enemy just waits to say, you're not accomplishing. Where's the you? Where's that girl that you're boasting about? I've got to rise up and say, here am I, in all of my glory, in all of my dominion, in all of my capacity. So hope is the thing that we must hold on to, and reminding yourself of who you are and the goal that you wrote about yourself and the dream that God has given to you to become who you are. Do not allow yourself to not be that girl, because you are that girl. You are that girl. You are that girl in your moments of just, I look beautiful, and you are that girl and I'm going to do this thing. And you are that girl and say, I understand why I feel this way, but I must get out of that mood and just move right along. But I don't just move along, Alani, Renee. I move onward, I move forward, I move upward, same thrust, not just going along, but onward, forward, upward, always. That's the thing I try, and it works all the time. I try to tell myself, my husband of 56 years asked me last night, are you happy? I said, I have to do some things to ensure that I'm happy. I didn't burden him and say, I just sat there a bit and thought, Lord, give me fresh ideas as to how to pursue my that girl purpose for my life. Yeah. And it's working.
Onward, upward, forward.
Or whatever. Ever. Meaning forever.
This has been such an amazing conversation. I always love having conversations with you in general, but to be able to share it with everyone within the Good Girl community and just all the women. It's been a wonderful discussion. Thank you for joining.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you.